it, and it's a whole bunch of nested dictionaries. It's nested ordered dictionaries all the way.
That's good. That's the only way to bring sanity to the library structure.
But yeah, someone else should have a look through it and review that at some point. There is an IDL code there to generate the test file if anybody fancies it. Well, it does make me sad that this pull request is checking IDL code into my repo.
So with the ideal code, there is a problem. It is generated in the test generate the date, check the date. So it should be okay if it's running on a machine. Yeah. Except the date, the rest should be okay.
So, I mean, that needs reviewing, should go in at some point. We'll hopefully find it useful. Although there has been a constructive conversation with some AIA people about changing that data maybe into HDF5 or something similar.
But still, we have files.
Yeah, sure. It's more useful than just the AIA stuff, but. There's also 1929 that needs to do a look at. This basically redoes the way that we create new maps for the methods of map so that we don't require the compatibility layer to have .data and .meta settable in map.
Albert, just for the comment you just put on the Linux, I tested over a large number of files and they were read them all without. So the whole file were read.
Sure. I mean, yeah, but you wrote the code. I meant folks other
Sure,
than
sure.
you.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, so it's people who have to try to write, not me.
I have never actually used a Gen X file ever. So you're like someone. I'd like to hear more people.
Yeah. So which book records you were saying now?
1929. So yeah, 1929 just removes a bunch of compatibility code that we had with the old version of ND data in AstroPy. The effect on the user is that it means that .data and .meta are no longer settable on map.
So for example, if we run the diff roadmaps, we need to run this new function to date the time or something. Is that right?
What?
So whenever we get the differential rotation and we want to change the date on the meta, we need to create this modify copy to modify the map
So
that
I mean,
is introduced.
yeah, so I mean, individual elements inside meta or individual slices of the array are still modifiable. So you can still change the value of one of the keywords in the header or
If I want to add a new one.
change the value of a subset of the array. But in general, what we try and do is always return a copy, modifying the map object in place. The idea of the modified copy is just to make it need just have it so that it's easier to run.
I don't understand this modified copy method.
So a modified copy returns a new instance of given new data. What in particular don't you understand?
Okay, well, first question is presumably it should be a class method. Because you aren't using anything from self anyway. Right? The reason to avoid the class method?
Yes, just from a usability perspective, because the way you use it is you call self.modified copy, whereas if it was a class method, you'd have to call type self.modified copy.
You really self.modified copy wouldn't be a valid call?
No, because it would get passed an instance as the first argument as opposed to a type.
I thought you could still call the instance. Yeah,
To an interpreter.
according to Stack Overflow, you can.
Okay.
I think,
you
assuming
can
that's the case,
class.
I think class using the decorator would make it more clear what's going on here. Yeah. My second question, that doesn't make much sense.
But it's returning a new version of itself. I don't know. I mean, modified copy is not necessarily what the method is doing. It's what you would use it for, I guess. Have you got a better suggestion?
I'm just saying right now it's confusing because it's not preserving anything from the original object if you don't. You feed it something else, it creates something completely different.
True.
All it's doing is just keeping the same class type, right? Fundamentally.
Yeah. If there's actually any difference between. Yeah, that is all it's doing. Because it's just neater to call a method on the instance than it is to faff about doing type self instantiate every time.
I mean, I can certainly imagine there being more code in here at some future date. So it's not.
And also that.
But it's just, I think it needs a different name. I just don't know what name. It can be used for so much more than copying. It's so much more general.
I mean, it's effectively a proxy for new, is what
right.
it is.
Like super new.
In fact, could you just use new? Because it's a class method, and I didn't. Oh god.
Okay, well, you work on that on your spare time.
Okay. Yeah. Hmm. That might be a little neater. Interesting. Okay, cool. Good chat, Albert. While we're patiently chewing through pull request reviews, this has failed tests, but I don't know why. This may have been tested while the thing was broken. Let me check that. Could people have a look at 1785?
Are there other people on this call?
They're being very quiet.
I'm here.
I don't know enough to be able to contribute, so I'm being quiet.
You mean you didn't know that you could call class methods on an instance of a class, and it passes the class in as the first argument? I mean, what even is this witchcraft?
I missed that discussion before.
Have you ever heard the adage, it is better to keep your mouth shut and have people think you're a fool than open your mouth and remove all doubt?
Prove it.
I live by that.
Messing with my mind.
That.
All of us have said our names except you.
Ah,
Hey, the
Yeah, this
YouTube
particular-
stream is actually working.
oh, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Does anyone, Alex, do you want to have a? You want to talk about time series for a bit? We should get on to reviewing that as a community at some point.
Hello. Yes. Yeah. I intended to say anything, but I can. Do you want me to just sort of give the current state of the project?
Yeah.
Okay. So essentially, we're at the stage where we're just getting through the last little teething issues. Admittedly, I can't totally remember exactly what issues we've got. I'll just bring up the list. It's all Stuart stuff anyway, so that's fine by me. Yeah, the documentation has essentially been written. There's a couple of little issues where some of the plots aren't showing up. They're not being automatically rendered, but that's just a finicky little error. I'm not sure why, but between Stu and I, hopefully we can fix that. So we have both a guide and a sort of the normal type guide and a tutorial in the gallery. I was going to split up the tutorial into individual gallery examples so that people can see how to do the individual stuff. But essentially, we've got a good amount of content in the documentation. Yeah, it's fine. We have tests, as I understand it, assuming Stuart agrees with me, we have tests working for pretty much all of the plotting except the goes data. The goes data just being awkward for all of the tests because essentially it creates goes data is normally in a corrupt style of FITS format, but not just one style, but two corrupt styles of FITS file. So we're trying to figure
No,
out how to
I don't think that's
replicate.
fair.
No?
I think only the old ones are technically invalid fits, but I could be wrong.
Oh, okay, so only one type of invalid file then. Fair enough. Anyway, so for whatever reason, it just means that we need to create two example goes files, and I'll admit I haven't been expert enough I just about understand how FITS files are created, and I was able to create examples for most of the other file types and most of the other data types. But really, it's at the point where we potentially want people to start looking at the documentation, reading it over, seeing whether they can see any flaws, either holes in it or things that errors that I've made. Obviously, if anybody wants to play around with it, if they need any help with it, as in the time series in general, then I'm more than happy to help advise on how to get things working. Again, hopefully the gallery gives you a really good start on how to start playing around with it and what it's capable of. Obviously, it currently doesn't have any of the download functionality, so I've put a highlighted warning on the documentation for now that if you want to download stuff, essentially at the moment, we still unfortunately need to use the light curve class because obviously until Unidown is up, then
Unless you want to go expert level and merge Alex's branch with Unidown together and use them both at the same time, which is probably not a good idea, but you could.
no, let's hold off on that. I'm not troubleshooting that. So yeah, I'm trying to think whether there's anything else prudent specifically, or if there are any questions or anything.
I haven't had the time to use it ultimately.
I did not understand any of that.
So I haven't had any time to look at it or to use it. And I don't have any time series work on my hands at the moment.
Am I the only person who can't actually tell what's being said there?
You're not very clear, David.
Hello? I was saying, I haven't used it, I haven't watched it or looked at it, and I have not any use case at the moment.
Sorry, I still am not getting a word of that
David
right
said
now.
that he hasn't had to play.
Right. Sorry, I don't know why I can't hear. I can hear you perfectly clear, Stu.
David better than most, so
I'm jet lagged, and so my computer.
Yeah. Well, obviously, if anybody, I'm actually, I'm finding lots of limitations, holes, and workarounds. Getting a
way more robust really fast.
yeah.
As soon as you actually need to use this shit.
And a lot as well, it's understanding the limitations of data frames and putting things into documentation. So other people who try to use it, they then have some tool to work with to tell them, actually, you need to deal with it in this way.
Okay, so we've still got two instances of sample data in the tests. They're presumably the GOES data, right?
Yeah, the only data which I don't have is goes. The only example data there.
Okay, we need to get that sorted. It is on my to-do list. I will make it next. Is there anything else on? Anyone got anything else on time series?
Well, okay, so my list to you, Stuart, whether I don't know what you've done, as in, if any. My list was obviously test data for goes, two different types for the older. The goes source doc page and the general data type plots. Neither of them are rendering. All other plots seem to be working. And I did try to use the non-goes plots in the main data type page, and it still didn't work. So I don't know why. So it doesn't seem to be just a
thought I'd
goes plot.
fixed that, but interesting. Yeah, I thought when I ran them locally, they seemed to work okay.
Okay.
Okay, I will give that another go. I haven't tried it in a little while. Hang on, let me write this. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so what is you need plotting in? Woo. Plotting goes. What did you say it was? Goes and
Goes and the general data type, time series data type documents page, which uses another goes time series, but I did try something else and it still didn't work.
okay. Okay. Hey, Jack.
Hello.
Okay, I will try and get to those either today or on the plane or whatever. If you do, I know you said you had another question for me the other day. If you do send me that email before late this evening, I will again maybe take a swipe at it on the plane.
Okay, sure. I'll send that. Yeah, I mean it's problems to solve. And talking to Danny, there doesn't seem to be